And we are back, and we just finished watching Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always from 2020. It's rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour and 41 minutes. This film is written and directed by Eliza Hittman and tells the story of two girls. Well, we start with Autumn, played by Sidney Flanigan, who in the course of a few days finds out that she's pregnant. And then with the help of her cousin, Skylar, played by Talia Ryder, leave their rural Pennsylvania little town to go to New York City to help Autumn get an abortion. This is on the old IMDB TV, which is now Freevee, with limited commercials. It wasn't egregious, right?
No, they weren't bad. The commercials were pretty short.
Yeah, and there
wasn't a ton of breaks.
No.
Like I remember on Pluto, like towards the end of the movie,
it was like every 3 minutes.
You get to see a minute of movie and then 2 minutes of commercials.
Yeah, it was nuts. Yeah, this isn't that. Although I'm annoyed that they changed the streaming service name. They should have kept it IMDB TV.
Who cares?
I mean,
who cares?
It's obviously it doesn't matter, but it just bothers me. I'd like the continuity. That
we're off on a weird tangent here.
We are on a weird. But so are they going to change the name of IMDb? Because that's weird, right? Because
IMDb is different than a streaming service, though. IMDb should never have had a streaming service.
Why?
Because IMDb is the Internet Movie Database, where it just has information about movies. It's not supposed to. It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be where you stream movies.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know. It bothers me. Anyway, we're off on a tangent, so let's rein it back in. What did you think of this film?
I thought it was good. It made me very anxious and depressed.
I too felt similar emotions. As a parent of young girls, this was definitely anxiety producing.
Yeah, everything about it. I mean, her home life, visiting the initial clinic.
The one in Pennsylvania or the first one in New York?
The initial clinic in Pennsylvania.
Okay, yeah.
Then having to go to New York, basically steal money to go to New York. This film makes you suspicious of every man you see.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what is like in the water in this world, but good Lord.
Men, get your shit together.
Yeah, this was definitely not painting a pretty picture of masculine behavior.
We actually watched this film with our daughters, but we wanted to do this review ourselves. I had a thought when I was watching it. I don't know if you did, but I'm just going to put this out in the universe. I didn't think that was her father. I thought maybe it might have been a stepfather. And for a minute,
I kind of felt that too. And I also felt like maybe he was the one who got her pregnant.
Spot on. That was the thing I was going to say when Holland went into the bathroom. I was like, I have something to say, but I'm just going to wait. And there was something about him that I found very, very creepy.
Yeah, he was...
Like the whole thing with the dog was like completely
The thing with the
bizarre.
dog was weird. The fact that he was like antagonistic towards her during the, like, I guess, hey, you did a great job at the talent show. And he was just like,
your mother wants me to tell you.
Yeah, your mother wants me to tell you did a great job.
Like, what kind of a...
And he's like, why would I say that? It's nothing I say is going to matter. Something definitely happened. And I think the mother was basically like, oh, but he loves me, so he could do whatever he wants. And maybe that's why she had like sort of a weird relationship with her mom. Maybe that she couldn't tell her anything. Maybe that's why that weird conversation. Not even a conversation, but just a word spoken, and that was all that could be said because
her mother was useless.
Her mother was useless, and seriously, she was. She really was useless, and the father was. Just scum. He was scum, and just loathsome scum, and I felt really bad for this girl.
Yeah.
And all the stuff she's going through, and then like all the scum and all those punks at the talent show.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly they knew what was going on, and I'm guessing that the reason why that happened, if we're okay, we're just making stuff up.
Right.
But in my mind, she was dating that kid. They were, I guess,
hooking up,
using protection or whatever. The father did what he did, got her pregnant. She says to this guy, I'm pregnant, but it's not yours. And now this guy thinks that she's a whore, and that's why they were probably like slut or whatever.
Oh.
I mean, I'm building this all in my head.
But that's plausible. Absolutely.
That's what I felt, because I don't get the impression she, like when she was answering like the questionnaire, I don't get the impression that she was just like some wild loose girl. And even the way she behaved, she didn't really appear or seem that way.
She didn't dress provocative. She didn't act provocative.
No,
she was very like dowdy and kind of like don't pay attention to me.
I'm guessing.
And the song that she sang was sort of telling. The song that she sang at the show, how like I mean, I don't know if that's actually a real song, but it was like that this guy has a hold on her.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very bizarre. And like, what high school? I mean, she works at the supermarket and she seems pretty responsible. When they cash out, they cash out. And that was a weird thing too.
Yeah. What the hell was up with the boss?
Was that? I was like, what in the sweet name of Jesus is going on in Pennsylvania?
Yeah. I don't know. That there's a lot of, that town's got some dark secrets going on.
So a little bit of trivia from the IMDb page. Kelly Chapman, who plays the counselor asking Autumn the series of questions that the movie's title comes from, is an actual abortion clinic counselor whom the director met while doing research for the movie. That completely makes sense to me. She sounded like somebody who does that. And there was something soothing about her voice.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that is like welcome in that situation, you know. I mean, it's a terrible situation to be in.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
It's
as a young girl with no guidance,
as a young girl with no guidance,
support.
You're dealing with all these like moral issues in your head. You don't know what's going on. You got people. Some people will like just violently condemn you, and they don't know. They don't know what's going on. Yeah. They're not walking in your shoes.
Yeah.
God, it's serious. That's why like I had like this knot in my stomach, this whole anxiety of like I was so worried for her. Like literally like.
And the scene where they go the next day to the city for the first part of the procedure and like all those kooks are praying outside. I thought that was going to be a bigger scene than it was. I'm glad it wasn't, but people who are into zealotry, you just can't assume, right? And when I was watching that scene, like I felt my agita go up. I was like, what is going to happen here?
You never know.
You really don't.
This is such a like hotbed kind of issue.
Yeah.
Where like there's extremes.
Right.
And like especially on that side of the coin.
Yeah.
Because you got religion on top of just what you generally feel is right and wrong, and then you have like religion on top of it, and religion it makes people do some of the craziest shit on earth.
Yeah, I really liked how the filmmaker in the beginning, where she goes to the local place, like you even said, like what was it? Just they bought a bunch of pregnancy tests from like Dwayne Reed, right?
Yeah, that was not a clinic. It was pretty much just somebody's. I guess they converted their downstairs apartment into a pregnancy clinic, which was kind of more like guided towards getting young girls to not go the abortion route and either keep the child or go through adoption. I mean, they weren't like psychotic in their thing, but you could definitely see which way
they were going. Yeah. Because even the woman who did the ultrasound was like, when you hold that sweet baby, and it's like, you shouldn't have an opinion about this. And then the other woman, was it the same woman? No, it was a different woman. And she was like, are you thinking about abortion? And can I show you something? And then she puts on that video, and you don't see it, but it's basically propaganda, obviously.
They're showing you just like the most grisly stuff imaginable. I mean, thankfully they didn't show that.
Right.
That would have been very upsetting.
I already started covering Olive's eyes.
Yeah.
But this movie, I think, is definitely food for thought. I mean, you don't think about how these underserved small communities will be impacted. And unfortunately, in this very moment, we are at a crossroads in this country where Roe v. Wade could possibly be overturned. And it's unfortunate because abortions are going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, the scenes where she's...
They happened before Roe v. Wade.
They're going to happen now. And it's going to be really bad because...
after.
Right, because people aren't licensed medical practitioners. And I mean, in this movie itself, she's taking these vitamin C pills.
Yeah, she's going online trying to find out how
to self-induce
miscarriage,
abortion,
eat a whole bunch of vitamin C tablets.
Herself in the stomach. I mean, when she's in the clinic in New York, I was surprised that no one asked her about that.
I think that they knew. The thing about it is,
You've seen all of this.
You've seen it all. You've seen it all. And what are you going to do? Are you going to basically, are you doing this to yourself?
Right. Well, when the woman asks her those questions, that sequence where she says, just answer never, rarely, sometimes, always. And some of those questions are very personal. And some of those questions, like, you cringe when you hear the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And to be a 17-year-old girl going through this alone, basically. I mean, she had her cousin with her, and hats off to the cousin for being like the GOAT.
Yeah, the cousin was amazing.
The cousin was amazing. But still...
No judgment. Just 100% unconditional
support. Yeah. But still, like, I think I turned to you at one point in the film, like towards the end after the procedure, and I was like, this would be the perfect time for Autumn to tell Skylar thank you.
Yeah.
For being here, and she doesn't. And that kind of bothered me because it was like Skylar didn't have to spend the last 3 or 4 days with you.
Yeah.
This was a process. This was not in and out. This was a process.
Yeah.
And I still don't understand why they had the suitcase, but I think I need to get over that.
Yeah. I mean, in the long run, I think the suitcase probably was helpful because they probably put a bunch of clothes in there. And I don't think they intended on staying more than one day, but it ended up being a 3-day trip.
Did they change? I don't even remember them changing. I mean...
I wasn't really paying attention.
I feel like Autumn didn't change. Maybe Skylar did, but...
But they were packing clothes.
Yes, but that's what I mean. It's like, it's not like you stayed in a hotel. And that was another thing. Like, did Autumn's pride prevent her from telling the counselor, like, yes, please put me up for the night?
Yeah, and I didn't quite get that either. Maybe she just didn't want to deal with more strangers.
Possibly.
More people getting involved in their situation. I mean, she was very apprehensive about the kid from the bus.
Right.
And he
I guess turned out to be okay.
Didn't really, yeah, that was nerve-wracking.
That was nerve-wracking too, because I was like, what is going to happen now?
Skylar walked off with him. I was very concerned.
Jasper, played by Theodore Pellerin.
I
feel like I've seen him in stuff, right?
I've definitely seen that kid in something else.
He's from Quebec, Canada. Yeah, this movie, he was in There's Someone Inside Your House.
Okay. I knew I've seen that kid's face somewhere before. Yeah.
Yeah, he seems
for some
to
reason
have
he
a bigger...
reminded me of like Ad Rock from the Beastie Boys.
He does, right? Like if they ever do a biop, he should be Ad Rock. You're absolutely right. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got. That was Ad Rock.
As far as the story goes, I mean, there were parts of it where it was slow, but it was still compelling enough. It's not a short film, 1 hour and 41 minutes. Is that what I said?
Yeah, I think so. No, yeah. I mean, there wasn't like big twists and turns and like major character arcs or anything like that. I mean, Autumn.
She was born in August, though.
Yes, Autumn. I feel like she was the situation that she was in, or the emotions she was feeling were consistent throughout the whole thing, and the only time you see it gets like, I would say, deeper or more reflective is when she was being asked those questions.
Right.
Because I don't think
she's built walls.
Yeah, she built walls.
Absolutely built walls.
Basically, obviously the pregnancy is the result of something, but I don't think she really wanted to
get pregnant.
Well, not only that, but I don't think she really wanted to dwell or look back or think about, I guess, the situation that
brought her
led to her being pregnant. Because, like, I don't know if this was part of the story, but the interpretation I got was that it was the dad who was actually the father of the baby, and not that kid that she threw the water in his face.
God.
But who knows? That could just be my interpretation of it.
But it's completely plausible.
God, the father was so weird.
He was.
That
whole
scene
with the dog. Yeah.
What the fuck was going on there?
I don't know.
Was he like?
And she
was he like sort of like demonstrating that? Well, look what I could do.
Yeah, like you're all my bitches or something.
Like she doesn't resist at all. Like this is how it happened with you and with me and you, Autumn.
Oh God, I don't know.
Because you're a slut.
I don't know.
That to me, that felt like that's what he was doing. That he was sort of like.
I could see that. That he's that much of a big of a piece of shit. That yeah absolutely. And the mother was like, the mother was
oblivious.
Okay, was she oblivious or was she purposely being obtuse about? Because I feel like...
You know what? I think you're right. I think she was purposely... I don't think she wants to accept the fact that this is what's going on.
Right. And she only seems to have daughters. When they were out after the talent show, like she has little siblings, Autumn.
Yeah.
Girl siblings.
Yeah, I think so.
So if this happened to her, chances are this is going to happen to another sibling.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that like really bothered me as well, because it's like in these situations where there is familial abuse of that nature, it's cyclical. Yeah, not always, obviously, but
why would he stop?
Right.
Seriously, if I can do it with what my wife's, she doesn't care. She's basically just a servant to me. Right. Purposely just. He could probably do it right in front of her, and she would be like, she would turn away and be like
this isn't happening.
Hey, who wants cookies?
Right. I mean, obviously a different kind of movie, but I thought about Brimstone, how when he in his mind was done with the wife was like, this is the natural progression. I move on to the daughter, who is now going to be. Well,
there's that also had like psychotic religious overtones to it.
Right.
I don't know, but the
father is not that.
The father was
a piece of crap.
He was just scummy, scummy.
Yeah.
As far as like the characters go, that was really the only time you saw like more depth to that in her. The cousin was like a rock the entire time.
She was fantastic.
She was fantastic.
I loved her.
She was the exact person that
you want in your corner.
Autumn needed.
Yeah.
In that moment in time. When she couldn't rely on anybody else, she had Skylar, and Skylar was spot on. Maybe, and I think maybe because Skylar could kind of identify with the sort of things that she's going through, maybe not to the extent of being abused by her father, but the situation that they shared at the job with that scumbag
freaking
boss,
weirdo,
who's like when they hand the envelope, he's like, what the hell was that?
And another thing, like later in the film when she's talking to Jasper, she says that she's 20. I didn't know if I believed it so much, but what you just said kind of resonated with me. And I was thinking about earlier in the film when Autumn runs to the bathroom and she's sick, and Skylar comes after her because she notices that her cousin's not well, and she follows her into the bathroom and she starts asking her questions, and it's almost like she kind of knew. I mean, she might have been trying to bullshit her before, but she sort of knew. She's like, what kind of test?
Yeah.
She didn't really act too surprised when Autumn finally admits to what the situation now is. Mm-hmm. And then later in the film, I don't know if she's trying to connect with her after the procedure where they're at the bakery
diner,
or something.
Yeah.
And they're talking and she's asking her questions like, how was it? How did it feel? Did it hurt? You know, all stuff that you'd be curious about, right? And Autumn just was like a wall. She's impenetrable. She really has built this outer perimeter to block out everything and everyone. And she's giving like one-word answers. And that scene kind of hurt my heart because I felt like in this whole story, Skylar is the MVP. Skylar has been with Autumn this whole time.
Yeah.
Like you said, without judgment, complete support. And yet Autumn still couldn't give up that vulnerability to even say thank you or express her gratitude to. There's that scene when they're in the Port Authority and Skylar's trying to talk to her and she's just being snarky to her. And she finally like walks away and sits somewhere else. And I thought that, I got to be honest, in that moment, I thought Skylar was going to be like, F you, I'm going home. I don't need to be here.
Yeah. But she didn't.
You kind of see the little bit of panic. Well, the scene where she leaves with the boy Jasper, right? But also in that sequence, she winds up in the bathroom and she sees Skylar just like doing her makeup.
Yeah.
So.
And just wordlessly, Skylar starts putting makeup on her.
Yeah. Like whatever was between them was done.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. No apologies necessary.
Right.
Let's
just keep going. Yeah. We got something to get done here. We got a mission. Yeah. I mean, it was much like Evan Hansen, but without the singing. It was a hard thing to sit through because you know that this art imitates life, and this story is probably very reflective of a lot of people's experience. And it's unfortunate that these women have to walk in these situations, but this is the world that we live in. And again, with the possibility of Roe v. Wade being overturned, I think this movie is such an important piece of storytelling that bears witness, and definitely more people should check out. I think it for an indie film, I think it did okay, and I think it got a lot of critical acclaim. I don't know that there was a mass movement to see this, but this is absolutely a film that people should see with their kids, see with their daughters, see with their sons, and absolutely have conversation about, because I think that the themes and the storytelling here really does touch a lot of people. And towards the end of this film experience, I turned to my kids and said, listen, obviously it wouldn't be ideal to be pregnant at 17, but if something like this happened, I hope you guys know that your dad and I are always here.
Yeah.
And I know the little one wasn't listening to me, but
she was busy playing her
Splatoon.
Nintendo Switch the entire time.
God love her. I hope she never changes. But the older one heard me, and that hopefully she will impart this lesson to the younger one, because I know the little one loves us, but I think she pays more attention to G anyway. So
yeah.
So hopefully
sure
that message gets to her at some point.
Seriously, I could say the same thing to her 7 times, and
she would
ask her what I said, and she'd be like,
"Huh?
What?"
Amazing. Number from 1 to 10. What do you think? This isn't the storytelling it didn't feel traditional. It felt very, what's the word I'm looking for? The story itself felt very disjointed.
I don't know if it felt disjointed. It just felt like it felt like going from A, you have A to B, but then as you're telling the story, you keep putting in these sort of like stalls. They're not necessarily detours or tangents or anything. It's just breaks. Okay, the story's going to take a little bit longer than you thought. And that's what it felt like. So it wasn't really, you weren't really taken for an amazing ride I don't know, maybe your point of view will be changed if you maybe somebody who's like strictly pro-life will see this and be exposed to a different perspective.
If they allow themselves.
If they allow themselves to be possible, like you said, you could read into this film and see that, this could be the result of rape, incest. Who knows?
It could have been that teenage boy.
It could have been just a teenage fling.
Yeah.
It could have been any of these things, but the issue.
It could have been that guy from the supermarket.
It could have been that weirdo from the supermarket. But the thing is it's like I said, it's just A to B. So you're not going to be thrilled by this movie. It's sort of like we're taking you on a very direct trip.
Yeah. Would you consider this a slice of life movie?
Yes, this is like an absolute slice of life movie where there's no, I mean, there's like a quest to get something done, but it's like it's not like it wasn't the end of the journey. It was the friends we made along the way. It's not like that at all.
No,
it's not like that at all. I would probably give it like a 7. I would say is good.
It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
It's absolutely not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It, like I said, it made me feel anxious quite a bit, depressed. It's a sad movie. I think everybody's performance was good.
The two girl leads were fantastic.
The two girls are fantastic. It really does not paint a nice picture of men.
Especially from PA.
Especially from Pennsylvania. I don't know what's going on. But like,
damn it, Pennsylvania! I was rooting for you this whole time. I love you, sports fans, but I am not a fan of your men right now.
This is the perspective of this character. I hope that some things that always bother me is, I saw this movie and every guy in it was just the scum of the earth, and it's just poor men. Men are treated so terribly in this society. Look at it from the perspective of the point of view character, okay? Yeah. Just seriously, stop being defensive. Stop being so defensive about it. It's not about you. Nobody's saying you're some lecherous scumbag who wants to have sex with your daughter. It's just relax.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this isn't a personal attack.
This isn't a personal attack. Stop looking at it. See, you're like a teenager. Stop it.
My dad used to say that there are millions of stories in the city, and unfortunately, they're all true. We don't know other people's journeys unless we've walked in their shoes. I don't know what it's like to be from rural Pennsylvania in a probably poor family, right? They weren't living a middle class lifestyle.
I didn't really get any impression of what the parents did. I thought it was kind of weird that mom was just passing her a beer during dinner.
That was weird too. I was like, huh?
Yeah. I'm guessing mom she probably got pregnant young and just never had any sort of parental guidance at all.
No. I mean, that's what it felt like to me. It's like that cycle, that vicious cycle that never, people are born here, they live here, they procreate here, they die here. And it's just, it's like a vicious circle that doesn't change. And I also got the impression from Autumn that she doesn't expect her life to be better.
Probably not, no.
I get the impression that she expects to live and breed and die in this town as well.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sad because everybody has gifts.
Yeah, she was a good singer.
She was a great singer, a lovely singer, and probably something she could have done, and yet she certainly didn't have any kind of support in her life other than Skylar. But again, how much could Skylar do?
Yeah.
She's also a young woman trying to navigate this landscape.
What do you give it?
I would give this an 8. I think I agree with you. It wasn't like an impressive script, but I think that all of the elements worked well here and really tied everything nicely. The set pieces, the cinematography, the actors, the story, everything tied together nicely to move this story along. It didn't feel like an hour and 41 minutes, but you did get a sense of, well, at least I did, and obviously you did too, just this sense of dread throughout. of what was going to happen to these two young girls. As a parent, not even as a parent, but as a human being, you hate to see people in these situations, especially in that scene where she's asked those questions, right? And she kind of breaks down. I think also after having watched Dear Evan Hansen, the reminder of how brutal the high school years can be is definitely come back to the forefront in my mind. I don't know about you, but
yeah, there were some unpleasant times back then.
Yeah. So again, people of the world, you're not alone. There are good people out there. And if you find yourself in a bad spot, please, please, please find the helpers. They're out there and they will help. And that's it from us. And we will bid you all a good night.
Good night.
Good night.